How's it going, guys? It is Max Imagination here. So today in this video I'll be showing you all my different types of fidget spinners that are made out of different materials, and I just thought I'd share this with you guys. These are all my fidget spinners. Oh yeah, and this is my dog Juicy right here. He's gonna help me to spin these things a little bit later in the video. You ready? Yeah, good dog. Yeah. Okay, so let's start out with this fidget spinner. This is the baby spinner because it's really small, and like I usually make these are just chain spinners, or I call them dwarf spinners. And right here, you just have a simple chain going around a bearing, a little bearing, and you have a small thin bicycle chain, and you got these blue buttons right here. And this one right here, the black one I have, spins for about a minute, so it spins really good, and I really like this one. So these are my variations of the baby spinner. We got one in black with silver buttons, we got another one in silver, and then we have another one with blue buttons. And I have a royal blue button right there with just a baby blue right there. These are my variations. And some of them have a bolt going through just to make them stronger, so when you drop them they won't break off. Like these two here, they're glued. Okay, next up we have the tri-spinner. Right here, you can just see it has these zip ties going right across the nuts, and I'm using these hex nuts with 6 zip ties, and as you can see I'm using a blue button, a Jayco button, and the bearing type is a 6000 bearing, so it's a little bit bigger than your average skate bearing. I really like this one because it's very smooth. It's something I would really like to have in my pocket, and it spins nice. There's a variation of them right now. We got a feminine one right here. We got these googly eyes, and we have this red button right there. And we have one with a silver button, and we got the blue button one. And we have one that I really like because it has these little balls that you just rub your finger against, and it's satisfying, like a little satisfying groove you have right there. And it's a very fidgety fidget spinner, so that's why I like it. So these are all my tri-spinners. And if you want to know how to make them, I have a tutorial on my YouTube channel. Okay, so now we have these motorbike chain spinners. As you can see, it spins really smooth. It has a 6000 bearing in it. Some of them have the 608 skate bearings. This is a 6000. It works with bigger bearings too if it would wrap around it. And right now you can see it has these gold buttons on, and I bolted it together. I didn't glue these on, so just to make it a lot stronger. This is drop resistant. I really like this one because it spins for a very long time. And I also grinded down these links. Well, actually I shaved them just to make them a lot shinier and give it a more of a smoother look. Let's see a variation of them. Alright, these are my 4. We got one in yellow with blue buttons, and we got the one I just showed you. And then we have this one, silver chain, and we have these bolted buttons. As you can see, there's a bolt with a royal blue in it. And we have this black one with red buttons, which I really like as well. Okay, so as you can see, some of them are spray painted, and the other ones I just left like they are to be natural. And I also grinded them down to make them really shiny and smooth. And also, on my YouTube channel, I'm showing you how to make these. Okay, so now we have something I call the star chain spinner, or just the star spinner. And it's pretty simple. We have a 608 bearing in there, skate bearing, along with my favorite cone-shaped buttons we have right there. And I'm using a bicycle chain. I have 11 links right here to make this star spinner, and this is how it spins. This spins for just over a minute. And I'm also planning to make a tutorial about this one. Okay, so next up we have the big hex nut fidget spinner. As you can see here, we have 6 of these large hex nuts, and we have 2 zip ties going through them to strengthen them, and also glue them so they're pretty solid. You can't move them apart. And I've bolted these buttons together. We have these large size gold buttons. You see, you have the little ones right there, and we have the larger size. And I just took a little screw or like a Allen key bolt, and I bolted through with another nut at the other end, just to get a lot tighter. And this thing also spins just over a minute. You should see how it spins on the table. Spins pretty smooth. And I'm also going to do a tutorial on this. Okay, next up we have something I call the Motorbike Star Chain Spinner. And I also done a tutorial on this. And we got it in color blue. I spray painted it, and we got these red buttons. And it spins pretty smooth. It's very quiet as well. Another one, I paint it in black. See them both spin. Alright, I've showed you the tri-spinner before with the same concept. I made the bi-spinner, or the two-sided spinner. You can just call them twins as well. So we just have the 2 hex nuts instead of 3 like I used on the tri-spinner. And we got the silver buttons on this one. And this one uses 4 zip ties instead of 6. And you can just see the spin right there. Let's bring in some more. Oh. Some of them don't spin that well, but this one right here spins for quite a long time. Next up, we got the bullet spinner. So obviously you see you got these steel bullet caps. They're not real bullets, they're just made out of steel, just end caps you put on different things. And I decided to put it on my fidget spinner, just to make it a lot cooler. This one is pretty heavy, and depending on the weight and the size, and also depending on the bearing, is what makes it spin for a long time. This one may spin up to 30 seconds, not very bad. Others just spin for a longer time. This one right here has brass hex nuts, and this one manages to spin for quite a long time. And along with the other one right here, we got one of these big buttons I have in color gold, and this is how they all spin. Next up, we got the groovy spinner, or the vertical tri-spinner. So we got the vertical hex nuts. Instead of laying flat like they are, these ones are like vertical, and we have a zip tie going through the hex nuts just to hold it together. And I've also super glued them. And why I call it the groovy spinner, because this one has grooves in the buttons. See, others, this one doesn't have any grooves, and this one basically has been machined. I did not do it, but it just came like that with the buttons. You have the grooves here, and we also have the grooves in the hex nuts, which makes it look a lot more unique. And just to show you, I made some others. There's another groovy spinner, and we have one just plain, no grooves at all. These are just called the vertical tri-spinners. Okay, so next up we have the Tarantula spinner. Why I call this the Tarantula spinner? Because as you can see, these things look like legs, and it doesn't have 8 sides, it just has 6. I mean, I still think it looks like a tarantula, doesn't it? And we got black buttons. We have a band, or like this big zip tie, going right through the zip ties and the nuts. Right there, they're being held in by these thinner zip ties. And we have, the 6 nuts, the 6 thin zip ties, and we have one big main zip tie. That was a tarantula spinner. As you can see, they look like tarantulas. Just put them on your hand. Let's see them spin. Okay, so next up we got the plastic spinners, or the cutting board spinners, which are made out of HDPE, a special type of plastic. And me and my dad, we went out to the factory, we cut out all these shapes, we sanded them. It took a very long time making each of these. And you see there's a three-sided one here. And we drilled a hole right here, and we put these brass thingies in. And look at this one right here, we got these silver ones here. Yeah, these things took me a really long time to make. It's something I probably wouldn't make again, but I mean, they're just for the look of it. They look pretty cool. And we have one right here. This is my favorite one. It gives you a nice illusion. I've just seen this shape on the internet, so I just printed it out and put it on a cutting board, and we went out to the factory and cut this one out, and I think it really looks cool. Okay, so this one I hydro dipped. It's the same thing as these right here, but except this time we have no holes drilled, and this one was hydro dipped. So I just took a bucket of water, you sprayed some spray paint on the surface, and then you just dip it in. There's a lot of videos on YouTube about that, and I've got these blue Jayco buttons, as you can see. I'm using a 6000 bearing in this, and it kind of looks like a yellowish flame. If you just take a really close look at it, it looks like a flame. Fidget spinner on flames. Yeah, it spins pretty smooth. Okay, next up we've got the steel spinner. This is 100% steel. The bearing is steel, these buttons are steel, and the main base itself is steel. Solid. It's a really solid fidget spinner right here. You got these, it has 16 teeth that you'd usually put a chain around if you want it to be heavy. But since I don't like it heavy, I just took the chain off, and it's a lot lighter this way. But it's quite heavy for a steel fidget spinner, so yeah. It spins for quite a long time because it's very heavy. Next up, we've got the steel ring fidget spinner. Or basically, to break things down, we have these steel washers. They're pretty expensive to buy, but I just found these laying around my house, so I took a big zip tie. You may not see, but there's a zip tie in there, and I put them all onto the zip tie, and then just tighten it. And turns out it worked out. And I'm using a huge bearing right here. And you can just pop it back out, and then you can put it back in. It spins pretty good. Maybe a little unbalanced, but this one you cannot spin on the table. This one you have to spin in your hands. Just get a nice close-up shot. And that is a steel ring fidget spinner. Alright, next up we've got the mini hex nut fidget spinner. So these are way a lot smaller than the other one I've showed you. This type. This was the big one, and this is the mini one. So we got 16 of these mini hex nuts, and I've glued it to the bearing. And we got this zip tie just going through them. And I'm using a 608 skate bearing in here. And we got these buttons right here for a few cents. You could buy them at your motorbike store. And quite noisy and loud. It may not spin for a good amount of time, but yeah, this is a really noisy spinner. Whoa. So next up we've got the mini bullet spinner. You saw on how this one looks like, the steel bullets. Here we're just using these steel, small, tiny nuts. We got some bigger nuts, and we have 3 medium-sized zip ties going through these black nuts, and I have a bolt just going through to pull this in. Same thing I've done with a bullet spinner. See this bolt with an Allen key, and I've got these buttons I've also bolted on with an Allen key screw right there, and they have a nut. And just tighten it, and yeah, so that's a spinner. And this is the tallest spinner I have in terms of the button height. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, and here I have another one too. This one. This is not such a pretty one, but it's just another one I quickly slapped together just to show you what other ones you can make. Okay, so next up we've got the Monson ring fidget spinner. I recently done a tutorial on this. So as you can see, we got the screw right here, bolt, and a nut. And we have these rubber washers I put in just to space it a bit. And we also got these. These are usually buttons, just they used here. Except I just screwed them onto the sides, just as decoration. And I've also spray painted because it looked a lot uglier before. Okay, so now I have my little dog Juicy. Let's give him a spin. You ready? Yeah. Woo! Spin, spin, spin! And we got this one. What about that one over there? You like this one? Also have this one. You want to try it? It's cool, eh? Oh yeah, it's relaxing. Hey, what about this one? I really like this one. You want to spin it? Sure. Spin it. Oh, and the last one right here. You're gonna like this one. You had fun? Yeah. Good dog. Okay guys, so that's about it for this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and feel free to share this video to your friends. Thanks for watching, and peace out.